Hello and welcome to Football Night in New York, Living Room Edition. I'm Jeane Coakley alongside Jonas Schwartz and Vacchiano. And guys, big news on Thursday night. An arrest warrant was issued for Giants cornerback DeAndre Baker in connection to an armed robbery investigation. Ralph, what are you hearing?
Well, it's really bad news. He's alleged to have robbed 4 people at gunpoint with Quentin Dunbar of the Seattle Seahawks, and apparently a third man who was wearing a mask at the time. He's charged with 8 counts in all when the arrest warrant was issued. He was apparently at a party playing poker. A lot of money, a lot of expensive watches were taken, and apparently he also told one of the associates to shoot the victims, although apparently, thankfully, nobody was shot. So this is really, really a horrible thing and bad news for this 22-year-old Giants cornerback who honestly had come to the Giants with some character questions, some questions that popped up last year as well, but certainly nothing like this. I think this is a shock to the system for everybody right now.
And Ralph, what do you see the Giants doing with this?
Well, it's a really good question. Their first step is they're going to take a page right from the playbook on how to handle this. They're going to say nothing, as their first statement did as soon as the arrest warrant became public. They are going to let the legal system play out. They're going to try to not talk about it as much as possible, and if he doesn't get punished by the legal system, they'll let the NFL handle it, because he's certainly in line for a possible suspension under the NFL's personal conduct policy. Whether they do anything else, teams don't usually do anything else. Once the NFL and the legal system handle it, they kind of wash their hands. He's a first-round draft pick, talented player. I don't think they're lining up to cut him just because of this, but I think they're going to brace themselves just to make sure that nothing else comes out.
And Jonas, how do you see this playing out for Joe Judge? I mean, he's the head coach and first-year head coach, and this is happening to him.
Yeah, and this is his first impression of DeAndre Baker. What a first impression it must be if you're Joe Judge. And I got to tell you, you mentioned, Ralph, that he is a first-round pick, the third of those first-round picks from a year ago. Good thing for him, Dave Gettleman's still there, because Joe Judge, walking in from a Bill Belichick-type system, and obviously has been around very strong coaches in his past, in Nick Saban, amongst others, he's sitting there going, what do I need this for? And for a guy who was trying to convince the Giants, Ralph, that, those character concerns was just basic immaturity, hard to say that now after we see this incident come up. And I have one other question here. He was making $2.39 million. Why is he stealing $20,000 watches from people? If any of those facts that came out are true, how does this make any sense? And how does it make you not question what this guy is thinking?
It's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. All right, guys, in other NFL news, the NFL has announced that they've extended off-season virtual program workouts to the end of May. So with so many unknowns about the future, how about we make our own future? How's that sound, guys?
Good.
Perfect.
All right, well, here's the deal. Using only the current roster from the Jets and Giants, let's make one NFL New York team. Ralph, let's start with offense this week.
Right now, Sam Darnold would be my all-New York quarterback. His weapons, though, would be all Giants. I gave him Golden Tate at receiver, Darius Slayton, the young up-and-comer at receiver, Evan Ingram at tight end. I did throw in Jamison Crowder because I think he might be the best slot receiver in New York. As for the blockers, 2 rookies, I put the Jets' Mekhi Becton at left tackle. I moved the Giants' Andrew Thomas, the 4th overall pick, to right tackle. And in the middle of the line, you got the Giants' 2 guards, Will Hernandez and Kevin Zeitler, and center Connor McGovern of the Jets right in the middle. Tilts just a little bit towards the Giants, but the Jets get the key piece in Sam Darnold. He's the best quarterback in New York right now.
Jonas, what about you?
Pretty similar list, but there's some key differences. I'm going with Darnold as the quarterback. Don't think he edges out Daniel Jones, and I think Darnold takes a big step forward this year. Saquon Barkley, of course, is the running back. We're still not sure if the Jets are going to use Le'Veon Bell to his fullest ability or what that ability is at this point. Golden Tate at the receiver. Sterling Shepard I went with as a receiver, because even though he's had injury issues, I just think his talent dictates him being on the list. I went with Chris Herndon as the tight end because, again, I saw that talent 2 years ago, and Evan Ingram has sort of disappointed me. We'll get into more of that later. Jamison Crowder is the slot receiver. Mekhi Becton is the left tackle. Will Hernandez is the left guard. McGovern at center. Zeitler at right guard. And George Fant at right tackle as yes. So I'm buying in on the upside of George Fant already.
All right. Well, Joyce, you kind of mentioned it. You guys have a lot of similarities, but a lot of difference. That tight end position, though, stood out for me. Why are you picking Herndon over Ingram? Because Chris Herndon has been hurt.
Yeah, last year was a lost year for him. But what I saw 2 years ago showed me a guy who could be a real impact player and a real difference maker for that Jets offense. And I know Ingram can do it. He's a good receiver. But I find Ingram's inconsistency to be maddening when I watch him, and maybe to influence me on this list. Herndon, the last time I saw him play consistently, he was really good and emerging. The inconsistency in his career has been caused by his inability to stay on the field last year. I think when he gets back on the field, we'll see him consistently really emerge with Sam Darnold.
And, Ralph, let's talk about their receiver position. You have Slayton over Shepard.
Yeah, I thought about this one for a while. I do like Sterling Shepard. I kind of get the feeling we've seen the best of him, and it's really him as a possession receiver. I don't see the explosiveness. I am worried about the injuries. Slayton, to me, just has so much potential. The chemistry he developed last year with Daniel Jones, he became a big play receiver. Maybe right now, the only one in New York, the guy who can go down the field, who can take a short pass and break it into something big. Yes, it was a short sample, but really what I saw from him was the makings of a number one receiver. Surprised me given that he was a low-round draft pick, but I think he has a chance, if he's still used the same way, to put up the best numbers of any receiver in this city.
All right, so you both have Mekhi Becton starting as your left tackle. That right tackle position isn't. Why are you going with Andrew Thomas?
Well, you could flip either side with Andrew Thomas. I could have put him at left tackle. I put him at right. I wanted to get the two rookies in. I think Mekhi Becton and Andrew Thomas are going to be just a terrific team of tackles for the next, hopefully 10 years in New York. But just to make my team fit, I think Mekhi Becton is more likely to start at left tackle. Andrew Thomas has played right tackle in the past. I think there's a chance that he starts there. The Giants have Nate Solder. He didn't play well last year. The Giants have admitted that, but he's been a left tackle for so long. I think they are more likely to put Thomas on the right side, leave Nate Solder where he is for now. So just to make my team work, I wanted to get both of them in. That's why I put Thomas on the right.
I hear where Ralph's coming from, and he's likely right. But I made the calculation that the Giants, I think they should try to move Solder to the right side. And I just could not pick Nate Solder at this stage of his career over George Fant, a guy who I am buying the upside, the athleticism, and all those things that Joe Douglas saw in him. Even though he was a part-time player in Seattle, I think he's really going to emerge to have a very good couple of years here for the Jets.
And Jonas, you are in luck because next week we're going to get to know George Fant. Be excited.
That's great. I'm there.
All right. And of course, keep it right here for the latest on DeAndre Baker. Our Vacchiano will have you covered. Keep it to SNY.TV. But until then, we'll see you next week for Football Night in New York, Living Room Edition.